All right, Astros fall 7-0. Really just one of the worst pitching performances you'll ever see from Lance McCullers, and I'm sure Lance is going to get hammered, and rightfully so. But the bottom line is they didn't score any runs. So, I can sit here and I can pound the table and say Lance McCullers stunk, and I can do all that, but they didn't score any runs. So it really, in my opinion, it wouldn't have mattered how he would have pitched. I do wonder, though, like the biggest takeaway from this game, and we like to jump right into it. You're Astros fans. I'm not going to summarize the effing game for you. So you watch the game. I do wonder, like, if this thing goes long, and it does seem like it's going to go longer than we thought, it still could go 6, which was my prediction. But if it does go 7, I don't think you can hand the ball to Lance McCullers. Whether that means that it's an all-hands-on-deck situation where you have either Garcia or Urquidy, whatever, whoever, you can't. I don't think you can hand the ball to Lance after a performance like that. And really, it's kind of been. It was kind of a little bit of a roller coaster ride last time he was out there. I know that he has a lot of experience, but you get roughed up for 5 bombs from 5 different guys. You can't do it. And the other thing, the thing that bothers me about baseball sometimes is, like, sometimes things are thrown out there and it's like, it's almost like you're saying it to like minimize what happened. Like, he's tipping pitches. Okay. I mean, the dude's been pitching at a high level for long enough to where if you're tipping pitches in this type of a situation, I mean, that's not like something you just dismiss. That's just as alarming as if you weren't tipping pitches. So my biggest takeaway is this. Look, Lance was bad. I don't think Lance can go back out there in Game 7. But the bottom line is this. The reason the Astros are in this situation, and it's all going to go back to it, is because Justin Verlander blew a 5-run lead. Lance McCullers never had a 5-run lead. You didn't score a game. You didn't score a run. Justin Verlander choking, and for the first time in over 100 starts, not winning a game when he was handed a 5-run lead. That's why you're in the situation you're in. And the rain delay didn't help because Philly was able to put their guy out there that was obviously better than the guy that they were going to throw out there in the before.
Yeah, to me, Landry, the big story is not just Justin Verlander, but it's compounded with the performance that you got from Lance McCullers tonight. Like I put this out there. The biggest takeaway 3 games in is that so far your 2 highest paid pitchers, Justin Verlander and Lance McCullers, who you're paying roughly just over about $40 million combined for, okay? Justin Verlander, $25 million. Lance McCullers, just under $16 million. Your 2 highest paid guys, the guys you're supposed to be able to rely on the most, are the ones that have given you duds in the World Series so far. And 3 games in, the only guy who has shown up is Framber Valdez. So to me, that's the biggest story. I know a lot of people's takeaway is going to be how did Dusty Baker leave Lance McCullers out there after he had given up 3 home runs? And I want to know the same thing. Like, I got the same question. And I'm not I'm not here for it. Once he gave up that home run to Brandon Marsh, the 3rd one, I was ready for him to be out of there too.
I was ready for him to be out after the 2nd. This wasn't like a Verlander 4th inning, send him back out there feel. I look, he's got a better feel for the game than I do. I wanted him out there after the 2nd.
Yeah, no, I mean, to me, there is a short list of pitchers, I feel like, and maybe the list is none, of guys who should be able to give up 3 home runs within 2 innings of a World Series game and still be able to be out there. And I don't feel like Lance McCullers is one of those guys. And I'm saying that as somebody who likes Lance McCullers. But to me, if you give up 3 home runs within two innings of a World Series game, Lance McCullers cannot be the guy who's above getting pulled at that point. But like I was saying, at the same time, he is somebody that you're relying on. And if you're going to be fair to the Astros, they have, I feel like, gotten here by being an organization that has relied on their guys, for better or worse. Like, they were gonna rely on Justin Verlander. They were gonna lean on Lance McCullers in these situations. Even if after the 2nd inning or after that 3rd home run, I'm looking for Jose Urquidy or Hunter Brown. Like, I'm trying to figure out, where is the next guy. But that's been their philosophy. That's what they stuck with, and they did it to a fault tonight.
Yeah, and I mean, look, Yordan Alvarez is what, 4 for his last 33, I think, or 4 for his last 32. Jose Altuve, he's been awful in the postseason. So I'm just there's plenty of problems that we could talk about, but I mean,
well, the offense is chief among it too. Like Jose Altuve, like thanks for if the Astros lose the World Series, like I guess you'll be able to say thanks for game 2. Thank you at least Jose Altuve for game 2, because outside of that, like he's giving you nothing. Like the other side of it too, Landry, you just mentioned it, is the fact that your best offensive players, Jose Altuve and Yordan Alvarez, have given you nothing. Like, thanks Yordan for helping us get here through Seattle, but like outside of that in the World Series, you haven't gotten much from these guys, like other than game 2. So I mean, I think that's part of it. Like, you don't score any runs. I mean, you're going up against the A-ball once you got Lance McCullers giving up 3 home runs in 2 innings, but you don't score any runs at all throughout the game. I mean, you can't have it. So, I mean, I feel like that's the biggest story of the game is your top performers. Like, you look at it offensively, all your hits come from the bottom of the lineup. Like you're getting hits from David Hensley and Martin Maldonado and I guess their first hit is Yuli Gurriel in an infield single. Like, I mean, that's what you're giving us in the World Series.
Yeah, and now you got Christian Javier on the mound. I'll be honest. I said it on Monday. I feel more confident in Javier than I do McCullers even today. So I guess there's a good thing there. I guess you'll have some guys on standby if you need Garcia or if you need something like that. But I feel more confident with Javier out there. But the other thing about it, and this isn't an excuse. I said that. I mean, we said this, and I'll pull up the receipt tomorrow when he joins us. Like Baseball Spo said last Wednesday, watch this weather report, because if there is a game postponement, and that sumbitch really said this last Wednesday. That's why he's the best. He said if there's a postponement, then this is going to help out the Phillies a lot. That's what he said, and it's not like some imaginary, they benefited from this. That would be chicken bleep if I said that. They literally changed their starter. Like, it's not like they just ran out there with the same guy. They literally changed their starter to pitch today instead of with the rain delay. So they did benefit from that as well. And the big scheme of things, it goes back to the Verlander thing. You should be up 2-1. The other thing that's really, 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 really weird, and I'm confused. What the hell is going on with Ryan Stanek? Because he can't come in the 10th inning because of some mysterious ass sheet that Dusty Baker talks about. But he can come in a game when it's 7-0. And not only does the dude come in, the dude's damn near throwing 100 miles per hour, and he's striking out Bryce Harper and making Bryce Harper look more silly than he's looked all postseason. Someone's got to explain to me what's going on with Ryan Stanek. Seriously, because that guy right there looked like the guy that we've seen all regular season. He came in and got the hold after Garcia gave up the bomb in game 1. He comes in here, he's throwing 100-mile-an-hour gas. He had a perfect inning or whatever. He had a good inning against Seattle, like a scoreless inning against Seattle in the long game, if I'm not mistaken. And what's going on? Help me. You're at all the games. Just help me out, please.
Nah, I wish I knew, man. It's like one of the bigger mysteries of all of the postseason. Like, every time we get on here on a postgame show, we talk about it, and it goes all the way back to game 2 of the ALDS. Like, we're looking around and trying to figure out where the hell is Ryan Stanek, and I feel like we finally get it's something close to an explanation from Dusty Baker talking about some kind of sheet. And I'd love to see the sheet. We've been asking for the sheet. I want to see the sheet. We ain't seen the sheet yet.
There ain't no sheet.
But the sheet can't make no damn sense, man. Like, Ryan Stanek has been, if not your best, one of your top 2 or 3 relievers all season. And the idea that like you wouldn't be using him in higher leverage situations or choose odd higher leverage situations to use him like they did in game 2. You know, it's just an odd thing, man. Like I don't have an explanation for it. I wish I did, but
it was game 1. I think it was game 1
or game 1. Yeah, game 1. But either way, man, like it's just an odd thing, man. Like the whole thing with Ryan Stanek, like and like just the fact that that's who you brought in for McCullers instead of like Hunter Brown or Jose Urquidy. Like it just seemed like a empty inning, like a wasted. Like I didn't understand Ryan Stanek in that spot. Like at that point, you're losing the game. You need length. Ryan Stanek to me is a higher leverage guy. Like I didn't get it.
Yeah, it's confusing. This atmosphere is crazy as hell, though. I will give Philly credit for that. It is a wild atmosphere. I got to ask this. Did Maldi call a good game today or not? Because I can't really keep up. I know that if Verlander would have thrown a gem, I would have heard it would have been one of the first things Dusty said, that Maldi called a hell of a game. I'm assuming if McCullers had done that, I would have heard it as well. I know Vasquez has thrown 22 scoreless innings. So did he call a good game? And the other thing is this, like, obviously I say that tongue in cheek because I don't like the over romanticized. I think Martin Maldonado is the most overrated player in baseball. And I think it's actually incredibly annoying to hear him get credit for the best rotation in baseball, throwing good games, because they would do that no matter what. So it really bothers me. But when things go bad, did he call a bad game? And the other thing is this, like, if the pitchers are tipping pitches, if Lance McCullers, like if Tweedle Dong 955 on Twitter is saying that Lance McCullers is tipping pitches, and John Smoltz is saying that he's tipping pitches, and Starting Nine has like a side-by-side graphic of Lance McCullers tipping pitches, and Barstool has something on him tipping pitches, maybe the freaking catcher that gets credit for everything should be able to catch on and know that he's tipping pitches. Or maybe all these advanced sheets, instead of worrying about these mysterious advanced sheets that don't make any sense, maybe one of those can figure out that he's tipping pitches. Because if everybody can figure it out, tell me how Martin Maldonado, who gets all this credit because he'll catch Urquidy for like 7 scoreless innings. 2 weeks after Vasquez did it, 2 days after he was on the team, maybe that's the guy that should figure out that Lance McCullers is tipping pitches if he's tipping pitches. And by the way, thank you so much for telling me it's one game. I had no idea. I thought the series was over. Wait, we got more ball to play? Thank you so much, sir.
No, because see, you and I got on this show,
though, but I got you.
You and I got on this show, Landry, thinking that this was 2 games in 1. We thought that they played a doubleheader tonight, apparently.
Not really. Not really,
but
just messing with you. Go ahead.
Yeah, but like, so first of all, I just want to say this is one of my favorite bits of radio right now.
It's not a bit.
It is, and it's not
a good game or not. I'm serious. Like, did he?
It's like it is, and it's not, because I'll tell you, after game 2, I was in the post game, and Dusty did mention, I thought about you when he did this.
Dude.
He did mention on Fromber's behalf that Maldi had called a good game for Fromber in game 2. So I thought about you. So this is a funny, like, running joke that we have here, but it's kind of like not a joke at all at the same time. But here's my problem with the whole tipping the pitches thing. Like, he might have been tipping his pitches. There's like stuff out there that says he's tipping his pitches. They've been talking about that since really early in the game. But also, and this was pointed out on the broadcast, John Smoltz did a good job of pointing this out on the broadcast, he also was just throwing stuff right there over the plate, like stuff that you didn't have to be like any average major league hitter.
He literally said you didn't even have to guess the pitch with where he was throwing it. You just had to know like where the location you were expecting.
Yeah, like if you just had to recognize it, you didn't have to know what was coming. Like if you just
he can't even throw a fastball to lefties.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. Yeah, all breaking pitches to lefty and then everything over the plate. Everything over the plate. So yeah, I mean, that's my issue with the tipping his pitches narrative, it's like, okay, yeah, that's not great, but also like, why are you throwing it right over the plate? Something that like even if you don't know what's coming is easy to hit for any average hitter, much less Bryce Harper or Kyle Schwarber. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
wild.
I mean, yeah, I get it. I just don't like, it's hard to follow. Like it's really, it's hard to follow just some of the stuff that's going on. And quite honestly, I mean, this has been this whole between the Stanek thing and the just some other stuff that's gone on with this team. It just seems like at the wrong time, Dusty's kind of making his first mistakes in the postseason.
Well,
And it's the worst time.
Where are you on how? I mean, because the big story in this game is going to be leaving Lance McCullers in there after the second. Like, there's going to be defense of it. There's going to be like defense of it because he was good in the third and fourth, but like he shouldn't have been out there for the third and fourth. Like, I don't think that the third and fourth inning and him being good should justify him being out there in the first place.
Well, honestly, I'm glad he ate some innings because if knowing that the Astros didn't score any runs and there's momentum guy that will say, well, you never know if if they would have come in there and gotten a spark, maybe they could have got something going. You watch this offense, that's probably not too realistic. So I'm actually glad he ate some innings and you didn't have to kill some other guys or like burn some other guys. So I was actually happy for that. There's something out there. I get fired up after these games, so I'm just going to get something else off my chest on top of the Maldi thing. Seriously, like, and I'm serious about this. This is ridiculous. If one person had said this, I would be all right with it. But I heard this 3 times, and we got to stop this. Like, come on, they want it more, guy. Shut up, please. That is the worst thing that you hear during they just want it more. You kidding me? You don't think the Astros want this World Series? They just want it more? Come on, man. You got to give me a little something more than that. They just want it more. Come on. They just want it more, guy.
Nah, my man right here says that it's on their faces. Are you reading their faces, Landry? Because that's one thing I haven't been doing when I've been watching it. I haven't been reading their. It says that they look scared, shocked, and not ready to play. The Astros, the team that's been in how many World Series now?
Man, WS is saying that.
Yeah. He says that their faces tell it all. They look scared, shocked, and not ready to play.
When did this happen? Like, when did that? Like, just tonight, or I mean, because I haven't really seen that most of the playoffs. Hell, they just lost their second game of the postseason. So when are you seeing this? I'm down to play some body language. I'll play some body language bingo with somebody, but they don't want it more, and the faces, I just don't see it.
Yeah, and I'm also to be clear, like, we can rip Lance McCullers, we can keep ripping Justin Verlander as we should. We can rip Dusty for tonight if we want to, but I'm not in panic mode though, Landry. Like, I don't feel like I see Adam T here. I don't know if this is a Phillies fan or not, or he says sadly, so I guess he's not. But I mean, I'm not in panic mode. Like they can't win this series because it's down 2-1. Like,
it's not panic mode, but I mean, it's
worst case,
man. They got to win one in Philly and then bring it back. See what happens.
It's worst case scenario though. Worst case scenario though. Like, because you didn't get nothing from your top guys. Verlander and McCullers go out there and you get nothing from him. Fromber, like you said in the last post game, is your top guy at this point.
Well, the Verlander thing for me is the more concerning because it was a choke. Lance just went out there and had a bad outing. It was a choke, and the offense gave you 5 runs in the first 2 innings. So that, along with the fact that we're going to have to see Verlander again, and that's the right decision. I mean, you're not going to take him out of the rotation. So that's the most important thing. I don't think Lance McCullers should step on the mound again this year. Just get ready for next year. Thank you for, working your ass off and getting back. Next year, we're going to have you for a full season. So I look forward to that. But you get 5-pieced by 5 different guys. You probably don't need to pitch again. And I know he's a better pitcher at home. But whether it's Javier on shorter rest, whether it's getting Garcia ready to go, Urquidy, Brown, whatever. If there is a game 7 and Dusty decides to go with Lance McCullers, he's either going to make me look really stupid or I'm going to look like a genius, because it will not be a let's wait and see. I'm going on the record right now and saying Lance McCullers, and I hope I'm wrong. I hope Lance McCullers has another heroic performance. I love what Lance McCullers stands for. I love Lance McCullers off the field. I love that we've gotten to watch him grow up. I think he's a talented pitcher, but in this situation, Lance McCullers, in my opinion, in my no way less about baseball opinion than Dusty Baker, I don't think Lance McCullers should be, if there is a game 7, I don't think he should be the guy you hand the ball to and say, hey, go get us a World Series. And if Dusty decides to do that, Dusty's got a hell of a lot more on the line than I do. Dusty's got an entire solidifying of one of the best baseball lives and the best baseball resumes of all time. He's got that on the line. So if Dusty's willing to do that, that's fine. But I don't think we'll see Justin Verlander again, and there'll be a little bit of nerves, but we'll see Justin Verlander. We should not see Lance McCullers pitching again in this series, in this season. No way.
So McCullers is the first guy to give up 5 home runs in a World Series game. So my question is, if you are going to bring Lance McCullers back, and I agree with you, but if you're going to bring Lance McCullers back, how do you
have to be a tight leash?
How do you
maybe one time through maybe?
My question is, how do you even have confidence in the first guy to give up 5 home runs in the World Series? Like, how do you have confidence in that guy in that moment?
If you can't throw a fastball to lefties, then they're thinking slider, or they're thinking changeup,
right,
or curveball. Like it's not very difficult. Like if you're a batter and you're literally gearing up for that and you're not even having to look for the fastball, then what Bryce Harper did is going to happen.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And the fact that he is leaving stuff over the plate like that, like, you would feel much better with Urquidy, in that moment. Like, and that's probably the ironic part about it too. The fact that Urquidy has been so seldomly used in the postseason. He is technically your most successful World Series guy of, in franchise history. Technically, he's just kind of sitting there rusting. Meanwhile, Lance McCullers is out there stinking it up.
Well, and Lance is taking accountability. He said this had nothing to do with tipping. Clearly, they had a good game plan, and they just went out there and executed it. So
yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know about how the executing the game plan as much as you were just kind of giving them something easy to hit. Like, you didn't have to. That was my point earlier. You didn't have to be tipping your pitchers for that to happen to him, especially like Bryce Harper, Kyle Schwarber. And it was even happening in the bottom of the lineup. Brandon Marsh.
Yep.
Alec Bohm.
It is what it is, man.
I
know that's the best line in town, but it is what it is. Good thing though, we got a game tomorrow. We got a game the next day, so you get to sleep it off. You'll wake up. You'll look ahead. It ain't like a football loss where you feel like you got a foot in your ass for 5 days, and then you get to the college games and you watch the college games, and you wake up the next morning, and that's when you get it ready. You don't have that foot in your ass too long. It'll go with you to bed. You'll wake up. It'll be right out, and you'll be looking ahead. That's the beauty of this. It's the beauty of playoff baseball. Christian Javier, baby. I can ride with Javier. I can ride with that. Although, man, this is an environment like nobody has seen before.
Nah, but I feel like that's the silver lining, that, you can't go down 3-1 and be facing elimination 3-1 in game 5. So, Christian Javier is kind of like the saving grace to me. Like, you feel like Christian Javier can come in there and save your season, and you're back to 2-2 after 4 games. And you feel comfortable with that. That's what kind of was getting at earlier when I said I'm not panicking, because I feel like they can come in there tomorrow and with Christian Javier tie this thing up and we're resetting things and feeling a lot better about everything. The question is, how do you feel about Verlander? How you love that? And I'm a little antsy about that, but at least for tomorrow, like if we're just living in the immediacy and not looking too far ahead, Landry, if we're just talking about tomorrow, I feel good about it.
And I also feel good, like the Astros getting in a position to where they just feel like they have to empty out the bullpen, to where they just feel like every and it's weird because then the bullpen kind of made me nervous, but to where they just feel like they're gonna empty it out. I'm excited though. We'll talk about it plenty tomorrow on Sports Radio 610. B. Scott, you'll be in with us, I believe, Thursday at 11. At least we got the Texans. That's what my girl looked over and said to me as we were watching this. I just shook my head and smiled.
Yeah, man. Hey, at least we got the Texans. At least it's not all bad. We get to watch the Texans play the best team in the NFL. We get to watch maybe the worst team in the NFL play maybe the best team in the NFL on a Thursday night. Should be fun, man. On a national stage. We got the red helmets. What about that? Yeah. Landry? At least we got red helmets, dog.
Yeah, that's cool. You can look good on TV.
I feel good about that.
All right, man. I'll holler at you. I'll probably see you at the station tomorrow, bro.
All right, man. Y'all be good.
Right, man. See ya.